Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well and enjoying life and also enjoying the content that I'm pushing out. A quick introduction: my name is Ray McKenna. I've been in the fitness industry for nearly 15 years at the moment. I have two masters in nutrition and exercise, and I've got many other qualifications. And I'm also an accredited Australian nutritionist, which also goes through exercise too and the physiology of exercise. I've spent the last 15 years traveling and living in different countries. I've worked for some of the biggest sports clubs in the world also and had the opportunity to do that. But my biggest reason why I like to do this is I want to be able to help individuals from the public, from athletic backgrounds and just general health in the four pillars of my program and of my coaching, which I am very competent and confident in, and that is rehabilitation, psychology, exercise, and nutrition specific to an individual. So, just so we can dive right into it, we have been discussing of late the gut microbiota and the different how complex it is. And today I wanted to speak about a common gut topic that we see blown around the internet a lot, and it's this thing called inflammation or leaky gut. But the word inflammation seems to be going everywhere of late, and I always look into the question of like, how did you measure that inflammation? And sometimes when you ask somebody that, they don't know what to say because inflammation is not easy to measure. You get me? Is that acute inflammation? Is it chronic inflammation? Is it inflammation that you're after getting from a training program? Is it inflammation that you're after getting from your training session that is actually quite positive because we need inflammation to be able to make adaptations? Make sense? So, before we do, just to give you a little bit of a recap, your immune system is inside of your gut, all right? About 60 to 70% of your immune system is in your gut. So most diseases that we do have are coming and linked to the gut microbiota, all right? That's being honest. Now, there's one thing I would like to tell you about the gut microbiota. It is really individualized and specific to you as an individual. So before you go taking supplements, before you go spending your money, just remember, like a field first approach is very beneficial, and like probably removing certain foods and certain food groups, which sugar is not causing this. It can be part of a problem, but a lot of people think sugar, carbohydrates, vegetables. So before we dive in, there's just one thing that I do want to say to you, and I can give any of the papers or any information. There's a substantial amount, like, so in evidence, all right. So let's say my opinion wouldn't really mean much from an evidence standpoint. Like, my opinions is just my opinion, all right. It's just, oh yeah, 15 years. What did I do in them 15 years? Makes sense. But like in the evidence, when we look into things like systematic reviews and meta-analysis by some of the great research ever done in the last couple of years, couple of decades in nutrition today, and rarely do you see much evidence saying that dietary fiber is bad, or vegetables are bad, or vegan or vegetarian diets are bad. There's actually quite, for anyone that is vegetarian and vegan or stuff like that, like there's really really strong positive scientific evidence now on vegan and vegetarian diets, and it's great to see that. But there's it doesn't mean that that's a dogmatically that's the way to go either. It's just shown that when we eat consistent amounts of protein, exercise, and we eat combinations of different fruits and vegetables, different kind of food groups, and different kind of quality fats, and we remove probably overeating consistently, that we see great positive results, and that we see great management of like blood cholesterol levels from an increase in dietary fiber. I'm just gonna have a little sip of coffee, my friends. So I wanted to speak about this thing called leaky gut. So your intestine has these wall barriers inside of it, alright? So your intestine is what supplies stuff to the liver, and stuff goes to your colon, and it's what digests and absorbs certain foods and certain nutrients. And the other thing is your brain is also linked through your vagus nerve to your gut microbiota, alright? So like just kind of thinking that thing, you have a link to the brain and gut barrier. And I like it's great because I remember reading a book nearly about 7 or 8 years ago. I done qualifications with a company called Precision Nutrition. And we were looking into the behavior science around like people and how the gut brain is linked to your brain every single day. So emotions, anxiety, all these things, depression, irritability, it all comes from a link inside of the gut microbiota. All right. So that's kind of where you are. Now I want to be honest with everybody today, right? Because I can sit here and put myself on a pedestal and say, I'm an expert at the gut. There's no experts at the gut. I'm just letting you know that, all right? The science is only new. When I was even doing my thesis here in Madrid and I brought this subject and was challenged by like many different like experts that I would say in the field, they're so open minded to this new topic. Do you know where I'm coming from? Like how much it's evolved and how new it's becoming and how it adapts to our environment, how it adapts to where we are in life, because the gut is highly trainable also, meaning you can train it to oxidize more carbohydrates, oxidize more nutrients to improve gastric emptying, which the rate at which food leaves your intestines and up into the liver and into circulation. So just kind of thinking that kind of stuff. So we go back to this inflammation stuff, right? Now, one thing that what happens is when we're kind of inflamed and we do have a leaky gut from like usually it comes from like poor nutrition, comes from like probably alcohol over time, bad food choices. But another thing that it really, really comes from, which nobody really speaks about, is strenuous exercise, training fasted with trying to go intensity all the time. Now, fasted training can be good depending on the purpose of why somebody is doing that. To increase mitochondria biogenesis, which is the function of a much better mitochondria. Absolutely, it can be because it can activate PGC1 alpha, all right, which is a gene responsible for mitochondrial biogenesis. But it doesn't mean that that's relevant and that like carbohydrates doesn't do that or energy intake doesn't do that either. Does that make sense? It doesn't mean that you don't like. So if you look into say we use the girl that you seen that might decline Claudia that went from 10K to 100K in a year working when we worked together, like she had plenty of carbohydrates, plenty of sugars, plenty of stuff like that. But like she would have a much more better mitochondria because she's fitter, she's more efficient. She's gone from 10 to 100K. So the mitochondria is able to regenerate energy to be able to keep that girl at a high sustained rate. And if she had a leaky gut, or she had gut discomfort, or she got vomiting, or nausea, or diarrhea, or constipation, or couldn't absorb nutrients, do you think she's going to be able to do 100K without the cause of injury, without probably breaking something, without going through all that kind of stuff? Not necessarily, because remember, the gut microbiota is highly trainable and highly adaptable and specific to an individual and certain food groups. So, I wanted to say that. So just think about this. When you have a leaky gut and your intestines like can't control and protect and absorb nutrients, what happens is all these toxins get out into the bloodstream. And what happens is also there's loads of different bacteria. And what happens is that's where we kind of get a little bit inflamed and we struggle with like things like irritability, probably anxiety, probably depression, probably studying with like, or probably struggling with like not able to absorb and digest foods. And you'll probably notice that like stuff that you're putting into your body, you're probably getting pain in your stomach all the time. You're probably getting constant like bad sleep over a long duration of time. And what happens is usually, here's what I think some people do, they will go out and they will probably try a different diet. Makes sense. And what that diet might do is they might cut out loads of food groups. But usually with these diets that people will try, will be like a high strenuous amount of exercise. Like it might be something crazy where you have to train 2 or 3 times a day. You're on really, really low calories as it is. Your gut is becoming really, really adaptable. It's deficient in so many nutrients. It's probably deficient in fiber. It's probably not regulating good combination of a mixed bad and good bacteria. I'm just gonna have one more little cup of coffee, stay in the bacteria. And over the duration of time, what happens is the permeability of your gut microbiota starts to become affected and starts to become really, really inflamed over time. And you taking out all these food groups, the enzymes in your gut microbiome, in your enzymes like in your intestines that's responsible for the transportation of nutrients may become a little bit inactive. Does that make sense? Like may become a little bit inactive. Like you have this enzyme called pyruvate dehydrogenase, which there was research done by Trent Swellengroff many years ago. Who Trent Swellengroff is probably the number one researcher in endurance in the world, and he noticed that people that went on low carbohydrate diets for like I think it was in 48 hours, they lost the ability to use PDH pyruvate dehydrogenase enzyme. Anyone that wants them studies, if you want to get them, no problem. Drop me a message. Let me know anytime. I'll send them through to you. They're good systematic reviews. And what happened, so that kind of showed that, like, right, if PDH, pyruvate dehydrogenase, which is in the mitochondria, which is responsible for carbohydrate metabolism and fat metabolism. So just thinking about that. So if that's losing the ability to use that enzyme after 48 hours, imagine when we're going on all these kind of diets, what we're doing to enzyme activity in the body. Now, the other thing that the gut microbiota has and inside of us is we have these carbohydrate transporters, which I'm going to actually do a post on, which is GLUT1, GLUT2, GLUT3, GLUT4, and GLUT5, which are different. They transport different carbohydrates inside of the gut. So some of them transport carbohydrates into the muscle, some of them transport carbohydrates into different areas. Some of them do use it for the brain and this kind of stuff. So just thinking about that, also, when we go on some of these diets, we lose the ability to use and keep using these transporters all the time too. So it can become really, really detrimental over a long duration of time. And usually then with probably poor diet choices and going on probably some kind of fad diet over a duration of time, usually what these link with is disordered eating or eating disorders where it becomes this like we need to have a cheat meal or we need to have poor diet and choices and then we end up binging. So just think about it. You end up binging. So what happens is you put certain foods inside of your gut microbiota. This can become a little bit inflammatory. You get a high level of lipolysaccharides, which is high inflammatory fats inside of the blood, which becomes gut permeability, which this becomes inflammatory over a long duration of time. And then the gut starts to adapt to this and starts to fight off against foreign invaders. And over a long duration of time, this is kind of where the stress and what you're doing with your poor nutrition choices becomes kind of this thing called a leaky gut, which your gut microbiota cannot just really digest and absorb certain foods inside of your intestines. Your intestines becomes inflamed over a long duration of time, and then like we're not actually addressing this issue. And then what can happen is the excess amount of strenuous exercise prevents the blood flow getting inside of your intestines. And what happens is this can become gut permeability and gut dysbiosis over time. So gut dysbiosis, which is a leaky gut, which is inflammation towards the gut microbiota. So all these kind of things happen over maybe the possibility of not actually fueling your workouts over a duration of time and just looking into that and then probably doing too much excess amount of training, which is probably not specific to the adaptations that you're looking to make inside of a training program. So again, if you want to teach your body how to use like fats and carbohydrates for fuel, which is metabolic flexibility, and you want to learn your body how to use fat. Sometimes using fasted training with a purpose can definitely do that. But if you look into the signs of literally having high protein to be able to support the immune system and support the gut microbiota inside of this can be very, very beneficial. But it doesn't mean like going out and you doing loads of strenuous exercise with no purpose, which can also cause an inflammatory response to the gut microbiota, which becomes adaptable. We're not recovering. We're not actually getting probably carbohydrates back into the intestines and back into storage to be able to probably prevent and lower inflammation, to be able to give an individual more production of short chain fatty acids, which I have over here. If you look into healthy gut on the left hand side of this picture, and then you look at an unhealthy gut on the right hand side of this picture, where if you look into that, like when you do have more short chain fatty acids, over time it's going to give us a much more healthier relationship between the gut and brain barrier, which over time is going to prevent symptoms of leaky gut over a long duration of time. And these short chain fatty acids, which I've done many videos on in the past, which I have done inside of my group, and I can share them with you, no problem. They come from prebiotics and dietary fiber and carbohydrate choices, which are made inside of the large intestine and colons, which have a relationship to be able to prevent inflammation over a long duration of time. And you're probably looking into like, where do I actually start with this, Ray? What do I actually do? I have anxiety. I consistently have gas all the time. I'm consistently bloated every time. Everything that I put inside of my body, I'm getting gas reflux. I'm getting diarrhea. I'm not being able to digest certain foods. And I constantly feel like I have anxiety all the time and stress, and my sleep is disrupted. And even my workouts, every time I'm doing my workouts, I just feel gut pain after it and digestive issues. Well, where you'd probably start is looking into like, right, what is my current nutrition that I'm on right now? And does it actually have a good combination of certain nutrients and a good combination of like different fats, different combination of fruits and vegetables, a different combination of meats, whether you eat meat or whether you don't, different combinations of protein, and then like not just looking into nutrition all the time. What is my current exercise looking like right now? Am I training specific to me and being able to make adaptations, which adaptations could be like, what is my actual goals that I'm looking to achieve right now? For example, you might be someone that wants to just grow muscle or get stronger. Right. Am I allowing the amount of training sessions that's needed to get stronger? So let's say you want to get stronger. Am I probably training right? So let's say you want to get stronger. We know that to get stronger, we need to be able to move more load over a long duration of time in a probably lower rep range, which most strength is neurological adaptations that we're looking to make. But if you do have good cross sectional muscle tissue, chances are that you would be able to get stronger also. But we don't want to be doing the two of these together. You either want to get stronger, you either want to grow muscle. Does that make sense? You don't want to do one of them, or you want to be an endurance type athlete, because these are totally different muscle fiber types and the adaptations that we're looking to make. And you're probably saying, how does this link to the gut? Because if you keep doing loads of strenuous exercise all the time and having your training all over the place and not recovering from that training, not giving your gut microbiota the right fuel that it needs to be able to supply, number one, fuel for exercise, to be able to recover from training sessions, to be able to regulate a good combination of good and bad bacteria, and to be able to fight off inflammation, to be able to support your immune system, to be able to support your brain. Well, you're going to keep getting these symptoms all the time. And like going up and taking NZs and certain tablets to be able to heal all this all the time is not always the solution, because that also has links to a leaky gut too, taking antibiotics. Does that make sense? So we got to look into, right, like, what is the exercise that I'm looking to do? And we go back to the person that wants to get stronger. So you might have on a Monday or 3 days a week, you have your strength training, training exercises. And if you look into powerlifting and stuff like that, I've been a competitive powerlifter before. And when you look into even the signs of, although it's good to get better at the movements, it's better to improve the squat movement, the deadlift movement, and the movements that you're looking to do. It doesn't mean that you train at them intensities 5 days a week. You probably train at them intensities 1 to 2 days a week, and you probably go into a wave load of where you're working up to them maxes and getting stronger over a duration of time, an 8 to 12 week period, not going in and maxing out every single day. That's probably not doing anything. And this can be affecting your gut microbiota. This can be affecting your brain. This can be causing too much fatigue and not allowing you to recover. So we got to get clear on the goals that you're looking to achieve. And it can be very, very difficult to get clarity of vision. So if you want to get stronger, allow your training to be specific to you to get stronger. And we know that, like, when you want to get strength gains, that we know there's a reverse effect of adaptations when you do, like, let's say for example, you do strength training and you throw in high intensity interval training. They're kind of like concurrent training, and they're kind of like not really allowing the adaptation. They're two kind of different training methodologies. So you got to look into what you really want to achieve. So for example, you want to gain muscle, right? You want to gain muscle, no problem whatsoever. I want to get toned, I want to gain muscle. So it doesn't mean that more is better, or you look into doing all this 20 and 25 sets of a training program, because that can cause too much systematic fatigue, too much muscle fatigue, and not allowing your body to do the adaptations that's needed. If we looked into the science and into the literature, I think it's very, very clear right now that 12 to 16 working sets is enough for an individual to be able to make adaptations, to grow muscle tissue, to be able to progress with their training over time, to be able to get probably lift a little bit more weight over time. Not every single week, it's over time we're looking to do this. And when somebody has their training set up, like whether they can do 3 days a week, 4 days a week, maybe 1 to 2 cardio sessions, what's going to happen is, the reason this links into the gut microbiota is because you're going to then possibly have good structure in your nutrition, whether you set yourself up for three training sessions a day, or I mean 3 meals a day, 4 meals a day, because circadian rhythms matters, and it all links to the gut microbiota, from how you sleep to how you digest foods, to the foods that you eat every single day. Like, it's all a circulation of a body clock over a 24-hour period, if I'm making sense. So as you're recovering from your training, as you're continually like recovering from strenuous exercise and probably doing exercise that sets you up for success and what you're looking to achieve, chances are you will not just teach your body how to absorb certain nutrients all the time, be able to digest them really, really well, prevent you from being linked to poor dietary choices all the time. And I had this conversation with a lot of people, right? If you look at the gut microbiota, if you improve integrity inside of your gut and improve the production of serotonin on a regular day-to-day basis, improve how your body produces more short chain fatty acids over time, improve the certain nutrition choice, and stop going on all these diets all the time and keep looking for solutions outside of yourself, and actually make a decision what's probably setting you up for sustainability and consistency that adapts to your lifestyle and your culture, that you can do this over time and stop being on the diet of the month all the time and messing up with your gut microbiota and messing up with your brain all the time. Just think about, and the behaviors that you're building from this. Make a decision what kind of goals you want to achieve, what kind of nutrition is going to be useful for you over time. you won't be getting all these symptoms all the time. You won't need to spend loads of money on supplements all the time. You won't have conscious anxiety all the time and keep going on this falling off track, self sabotaging, which the more you sabotage and feel guilt and remorse all the time and shame, think about the link it's happening with your brain all the time and all these memories that are built in your amygdala all the time. And then, like, constantly, then, like, going and thinking, I'm going to do loads of exercise. I'm going to go on a really low calorie diet. When a low calorie diet becomes conservative after 2 to 4 weeks, your thyroid starts to lower. The stress that's on your body and thinking that this is the solution. And then all of a sudden, you might spend 12 to 16 weeks and get no results whatsoever. Your body composition hasn't changed. You're constantly feeling digestive issues all the time, anxiety, irritability, and you feel frustrated from not getting results. You should feel frustrated, like, honestly, because when you train with a purpose and you train with, like, an outcome of, like, right, you know what, I want to lose 10 pounds, right? Set yourself up for success. Understand that the body's going to become conservative. The body is adaptive. Things start to lower down when you go on a diet. And just accept these things and look at it as reality. Because radical acceptance is accepting things on life's terms. And in reality, when you have your thyroid lowering, leptin lowering, which is a hunger signal hormone, and these kind of things, and the body becoming conservative, and the immune system getting depressed from low calorie diets and strenuous exercise, think about it. If the immune system's getting suppressed, well, obviously your gut's going to be a little bit inflamed because that's your gut microbiota and immune system are working together. So if low calorie diets, deficiency of certain nutrients, which help probably fight inflammation, fight off free radicals, become suppressed and depressed in a 2 to 4 week period, what consequences is this causing you over a long duration of time when we look into reality? Just think about what I kind of said. If you go into strenuous exercise, which suppresses and causes suppression of the immune system, the body adapts and becomes conservative with the low energy needs. And the strenuous exercise is probably not even doing anything from a progressive standpoint, but causing more effects, more exposed to upper respiratory tract infections, more effects to your body having to use its own stores to supply nutrients all the time. What is this causing you over a long duration of time? Like, what are the consequences that's causing you? You may go and have to get operations. You may get injured. You possibly can cause your body not to be able to absorb and digest nutrients over a long duration of time. It's not really doing anything, is it? So just think about that. Just have a good think about that and look at, like, do I want to continue to have these symptoms all the time? Or do I actually want to do something about this and actually say to myself, right, I'm getting off all these diets all the time. I'm getting off all these alpha male programs and all these other kind of stuff. I'm not looking to go to war. I'm not looking to do any of these kind of things. All I want to do is I just want to be able to exercise and feel good and be healthy and have managed stress a little bit well. I don't want to be injured. I want to be able to play a little bit of sports. I want to be able to run around with my grandkids. I want to be able to go and run up the stairs. I want to be able to go on a hike on the weekends. I want to be able to have a good social life. I want to be able to travel, and when I travel, like, I want to enjoy the culture of food when I travel. I don't want to make a pig out of myself when I travel. Do you know where I'm coming from? I don't want to be overeating like an animal. Do you know where I'm coming from? And binging and getting back on track every single week. This is not life. This is not healthy. Let's be honest. Let's call a spade today. That's not healthy. I tell you what I think healthy is. Not being on a diet all the time and thinking like I'm on a diet. Not being like looking at me body in the mirror every single minute of the day and looking at how I'm looking. Not going and putting so much stress on my body and feeling in pain all the time and feeling restricted to doing exercises. Not being able to probably go and do a couple of lengths in the swimming pool or swimming. Like, I think health is like maybe being able to play a game of soccer. Maybe being able to go and do a salsa class and feeling a little bit flexible and feeling a little bit adaptable and open. Maybe being able to go and sleep 6 to 8 hours every single night. Probably going out and going out with a couple of friends on the weekends and one of them says, we're going to a certain place for brunch. And the first thing that comes onto our minds is the psychological self-limiting beliefs that we hold about ourselves that are all relation to the gut microbiota and the brain where it was even known. We're going for brunch. Is that gluten free? Is it what are the chefs like there? Straight away we're looking at the menu. What's on the menu? We're ringing chefs. We're worried about that. You know what, John? I can't go to that social event the weekend. Why not, Ray? Because I'm following this diet plan, and this diet plan that I'm on has a set of non-negotiables that are rigid, and I'm not allowed to go. I tell you what, I'll see you in 60 days, and I'll catch up with you again. Look at the impact that's having on our social life. Look at the impact that's having on our own well-being as an individual. Instead of just going and understanding that it's 2023, there's a substantial amount of scientific evidence that total daily energy expenditure that matters. And that if we went out and made a good conscious choice, I probably just got into the moment and had the pancakes and just ate the pancakes, right? Probably just eating the pancakes, just eating the pancakes and eating them slow and practicing a little bit of self-compassion, enjoying the moment and not having to eat the pancakes and six other cheat meals and going around to the donut shop and devouring our face and feeling a sense of accomplishment that like I deserve this. I've done all this. I've worked for 60 days and then falling off track again and just going back into the diet a month and blaming carbohydrates or blaming sugar. It's not sugar. It's not carbohydrates. It's a stupid plan that we're on. Let's be honest. It's the plan that's setting us up for failure all the time and setting these big, huge standards that are not realistic and adapting to life as it is. It's not really health. And do you honestly think, right, that someone, like, do you honestly think that I'm going to just show up here and turn around and try to give people false information? Like, think of it. Doing 2 masters in nutrition, looking into the literature, like honestly, for years, looking into all these things. Do you think that if I knew that the stuff that I'm saying was causing someone harm, that I'm gonna really show up? I don't get anything for this. I don't get paid for this. I'm not selling supplements. I'm not selling anything behind the scenes. I'm not preaching dogmatic diets. I'm preaching individualization and specificity specific towards an individual and their goals and what they're looking to achieve inside of their lives and adapting to certain cultures. I've lived in Canada. I've lived in Australia. I've lived in different parts of Spain. I've coached people all over the world, and every single individual is uniquely different. And that's what we're kind of knowing here today. So I'm gonna give you one bit of advice before I drink the rest of this cold coffee. But let's drink the coffee first. Ask yourself a question today. Where do you want to be in the next 6 to 12 months? Don't do all these 10-year goals. We don't know what's going to change in the next 10 years. We don't know. No one knows. We could be taking machines where we just put it on and we lose loads of weight with artificial intelligence. No one knows. But think about this. Go back and look through the last 5 years. What diets and what have you tried in the last 5 years? What did you say that you're going to do that you didn't do? Think about it. And right, here's reality also as human beings. Shame, which is a useless emotion, which shame becomes more easier when we own our story with true vulnerability. and understand that we're human beings. So just a weekend gone, I had to reach out to a friend and say, I'm feeling a lot of shame right now. I'm feeling like there's this big, huge black cloud around me and I can't get out of it. And I just need to get out of it. Because when we feel like we relapse in life, we feel that we feel a little bit guilty and we feel ashamed of ourselves. All right. And the first thing we think of is like, where do I start? So, most marketing is used to target our vulnerabilities as human beings. All right. So the first thing we feel when we feel a little bit ashamed and we feel a little bit lost and we don't know where to go is like, right, what diets is out there? And usually most diets are confirmation bias that are based on somebody else's beliefs that work for them. So they tell you that their uncle's best friend's auntie, second cousin, whatever, done this diet and that worked for them. And then all of a sudden we think because we're vulnerable, because we're feeling a little bit low, diet restrictions, let's jump back on the wagon. Let's jump back onto the yo-yo diet, get the hoods up, get into the gym. You know what it is. It's showtime. It's beast mode now. Let's go all in here. Let's get a motivation bunk. I want something about willpower and self-discipline. Sorry, sometimes that just takes over. I want to go all in here. I want to be disciplined. I want to be a disciplined human being and I want to get ready for this. And that's what happens. This is what happens. And you know that again is psychological self-limiting beliefs. That is probably stuff that we've tried in the last 5 years that hasn't worked. It's not really gonna work now. Like, let's be honest about it. But look at all them kind of things and say to yourself, right, how do I set myself up for sustainability and realistic expectations? Because, like, I'm gonna tell you something today. You know, when you actually enjoy nutrition and you actually fuel your body with good nutrients and you have a good training program and you're recovering well and your fitness levels are going up and you're actually very, very active and you're very happy inside yourself. You know what, my friends? Do you want to know the secret? The secret sauce to all of this. The real secret that I'll tell you is all there is no secret. You just get better, you become more fitter, your body starts to burn energy through non exercise activity thermogenesis, exercise activity thermogenesis, diet induced thermogenesis. And all of a sudden, because you started in, like, it's not just about enjoying, right? Because there's a substantial difference between enjoying training and getting done what you need to do. So the reason why I say that is, like, when you're inside of, like, say, let's say you set yourself out, I want to lose 4 to 5 pounds over a 4 week period. It shouldn't be that enjoyable, if that makes sense. We should be just setting you up for success to get that 4 to 5 pounds off. And then, like, that's healthy. But then you want to set out like, right, I want to maintain that 4 to 5 pounds. That's all okay. But I want to maintain it, and now I want to maintain it. But, like, just understanding that, like, now I want to look over a long duration of time of, like, what do I want me next 6 to 12 months to look like? What do I really want to achieve in these next 6 to 12 months? Just think about it. And you might want to, say, lose 15 pounds. But set yourself up a goal of, like, how long do you want to lose them 15 pounds in? Makes sense. Do you want to lose them in a 4 month period? Do you want to lose them in a 6 month period? Do you want to lose them on a slight amount of, like, of a calorie deficit? Do you want to lose them on over a 12 month period? Do you want to lose 5 pounds, maintain and grow 2 to 3 pounds of muscle, and then lose another 5 pounds? Do you want to lose 10 pounds? But always knowing that I want to lose, maintain. Like, you got to find out what the roadmap is of what you really want to do, is what I'm saying here. Do you know where I'm coming from? Like, because if you keep doing the same thing all the time, you're going around with all these digestive issues and trying all these diets all the time and think you're experimentation all the time. You're not really. You're not really, because you got to find out what's specific to you and your lifestyle, and just answer them questions today. And if you want to go a little bit deeper, why do you want to achieve, say, this best version of yourself? Why? Just think of that there. And then, like, why is it important to you to achieve that? And then looking into reality before I go and let you go. Christmas, social lives, birthdays, Halloween, Easter, and you're gonna fall off track sometime. Like, reality's gonna set in. Like, you're gonna be sitting around donuts. You're gonna be sitting around pizzas. You're gonna be at a birthday party where you'll want to just have a little bit of a slice of cake, just whatever. Just think reality, my friend. Just really, really think reality and come to reality and just think about. And if you need any help with this or anything whatsoever, let me know if I can help any day. I hope you understood a little bit about how leaky gut happens, how the gut how the gut gets affected, not just by strenuous exercise, by different diets all the time, how having a healthy gut can increase serotonin, having a healthy brain can produce gastric emptying, can support inflammation over a long duration of time, how it's highly adaptable and specific to an individual, how getting clear on exercise specific to you and the goals that you're looking to achieve can be very, very beneficial for you. Thanks a lot for following my videos, and I will speak to you all soon.